Hello, Fearless Gamers, Matt here for Fearless Games, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of The Joy of Painting Minis. So this time around, we're going to be doing a Warmachine model, since I was going to do a Infinity model, but I think after seeing the Clown do one, I figured you guys want to do something a little different. So we are going to be doing Major Katherine Laddermore, or Laddermore, I believe it's pronounced Laddermore, from Cygnar, and this will hopefully be a little bit shorter than some of my other episodes. That way we can get more interesting models done. So let's dive right in. We'll be using the following colors that you see on your screen, and let us not waste any more time. So we're only going to do the unmounted version of her in this video. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to identify all the metal bits on this model. Before I get started, we base coated her in an airbrush of Model Air NATO Black to get her prepped and ready for this. Since there's a lot of metal bits that are going to be on her, I like to paint them. I like to base coat my model in a black color. And since this is a lot smaller than what I usually use, I'm not going to use my dry brush, which I usually do for a lot of the models from Warmachine. So we're first going to go and we're going to find every bit that I want to be metal, which will be right... Actually, not really thinking of putting any metal. Oh, I know. I'll make this part metal. And we go here. And like I mentioned before in another video, these are all Warmachine P3 paints, because I wanted to give painting using just because I like to keep my paints for each type of game separate, giving me a chance to try out multiple different paints, and also helping keep it simple as to what I am painting on. The one thing I will say right off the bat, one thing I don't like about this paint so far, I've had issues with chipping. I don't know if it's just because it's metal or what, but I have yet to have a model on this series that was painted using the Model Air paint that hasn't chipped. So, not really liking this. Granted, it could be because it's pewter, don't know. If anyone has any suggestions on how to keep that from happening, feel free to drop a comment. And like I said, this is going to be a little bit simpler. I don't do as much crazy detail as I do my 40K stuff, and reason for that is I really don't know. I think it's just because I want to have an army that has a little bit of advanced painting to it, but not like 12, 13 hours worth of paint jobs. I think that's why I kind of I think that's what I use my Warmachine stuff for the most, is to just get away from spending like a model like that. Way I have like one series of models that I know won't take me like months on end to get done. So did all the metal bits for this guy. Put my paint jar to the side so I can read which colors I did later. And then I'm gonna do a then I'm gonna do the gold bits. She's gonna have a lot of gold on her. So I'm going to first do it in my brown base for this. And thin out the... Yep, in case you're wondering what I'm listening to, I'm just watching some really bad Star Trek. I'm watching Voyager. I've watched all the other... I've watched the original Generations, Deep Space Nine. So I decided to give Voyager a shot, see why everyone hates Janeway, and then gonna finish it up with Enterprise. That way I can say I've at least watched all of Star Trek before I say that Kirk's the best. Even though he is the best. I don't need to watch all the shows to understand it, but I figure why not. She's got a lot of fine details, that's for sure. That is definitely something about Warmachine models is they're very detailed and they're thinner. I don't know if a Warmachine uses the more heroic scale or not. I think it does. I really not 100% sure on that. So I guess I will also talk now about, as I mentioned, I'm using the P3 paint line for this. And honestly, I like it a lot. Do I like it more than GW? I like the texture and how P3 paints work. I prefer GW's color line. But I definitely think that P3 has a superior type of paint to it. That's definite, in my opinion. So yeah, just painting up in there. I also find that I think that the P3 paint, one, has better jars and has better shelf life than GW. GW paints seem clearly designed to, as they get older, to get worse and worse, to kind of force you into buying more paint. And I am not a fan of that kind of practice, but it is what it is. Could say I'm not helping the situation by just accepting it, but what am I gonna do? Like I said, I like the colors. The only time I go for alternate brands with the GW stuff is when it comes to is for when I definitely need like an airbrush paint or something where I definitely can't just do, definitely just like the GW stuff just doesn't cut it. And especially like in the airbrush department, I heard rumor that there's going to be a new line that Forge World is making for airbrush, which is cool, but at the same time it's Forge World, so it's gonna cost a pretty penny to get them. Which is a shame, because I probably like them a lot. So I'll probably, if the rumor's true, I'll probably eventually pick up the pick up the line to see what it's like and see if it's worth it. We'll see. I actually just made recently a Forge World order with a bunch of friends. I ordered the Cacophony. I decided that if I were going to do Horus Heresy, that I was going to do the Emperor's Children. Mainly because I don't want to be, for lack of a better word, double dipping in the armies. I don't want to have, 30k Dark Angels and 30k Thousand Suns just because I play them in 40k. I would much rather have one army for one game and a different army for a different game. So that's why I went that route. Not to say I'm not going to pick up some models from the other two lines. Like, I'm definitely picking up Magnus when he comes out. He's going to serve as my Chaos Army's Demon Prince when he comes out, and I'll probably play some goof games where we have him as Magnus, because there's some situations where Magnus fought with the Thousand Suns after the Heresy. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But so I picked up some Cacophony. Going to be interesting to see how well I can paint them up when they finally get here, because they are super detailed from what I've seen. Okay, almost done with her. Looks like I just need to paint her hair. So I'm gonna give her brown hair. Don't know what hair she's supposed to have. Well, I could just easily check the box, but I don't feel like it. Now, let's see. Ooh. There we go. So we gotta get this. And now, almost finished. Get the rest of her hair here. Okay, so almost done here. And for her eyebrows, I'll go in later after I paint her face and fix up a hairpiece for that. But for the right now, I'm not gonna need to do much with that. And boom, we are done with the brown. And actually, is her base here? I might put her on her base, even though that's not going to be how her base looks. I need to buy more of the bricks that I use for my Cygnar in order to properly prepare her base for what I plan to do with it. But for the time being, she can sit on her stand. If she will sit on it, which of course naturally she will not. So probably in a later episode, just have to fix that up. So I'm gonna now apply the gold to the armor that's gonna stay gold. And why did I pick up this brush? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. So I'll just put that there and get this. Remove a good chunk of it and then dry brush it on. Okay. Now this is, like I said, most of my Warmachine stuff I can get done in a pretty quick fashion because I don't do real fancy real fancy paint techniques and such like I do with the Forge World stuff. Or with the regular GW stuff, because I feel that you don't need to go so crazy. Like, you could use simpler techniques and it actually will produce just as good, if not a better, effects. And it does work pretty well. Like I said, I don't think my Warmachine stuff is any less detailed or impressive than my 40k stuff. I just feel that I can paint my Warmachine stuff a little bit faster with a little less complex techniquing and still generate the exact same results as if I did. And gold is always messy, so I always, actually all the metal bits that I ever do with Cygnar is very messy, so I always do that first before I move on to any of the other paints. It's always the first thing I do, even though usually, like with the 40k stuff, the metal is usually the last stuff I do. Okay, so now all the gold is done, and we will finish up with one last bit here before we end. I'm going to use a wash to prep the metal for the next part, and to do a neat little trick with the gold that I'm going to do. So, get my black wash, my armor wash, sorry, as it's referred to as, and 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, okay, so I'm going to just go over the metal bits with the black wash that I use the pig iron color with. Okay, so now I'm going to do this really, really fine trick. Over all of her rivets here, I'm just going to kiss them with the brush. A little dab. And what this is going to do is it's going to create little circles of black around each of the rivets on her metal bits here. In case anyone is wondering, I just started with Voyager. Haven't gotten that far, probably like episode 5 or something on this thing. And so far, it's basically a bad version of Space Cases, if you ask me. Which was a much better show, in my opinion. But it had basically the exact same plot. Okay, so the black washing has been done, and going to need to take time for that to dry, so this will be a perfect opportunity to end the video here. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, fearless gamers, take care.